17th century painting by Spanish artist Diego Velázquez has inspired praise, criticism, analyses, and recreations for hundreds of years. It's called Las Meninas, meaning ladies in waiting, and now an urban art installation featuring the figures inspired by the Velázquez masterpiece has made its way to Venezuela. This is the work of artist Antonio Azado, who sculpts in plastic. The pieces have appeared and been photographed around the capital of Spain. Azado has brought them to his home country of Venezuela so that symbols and backgrounds from that nation can frame his versions of Las Meninas. One observer said Venezuelans are proud of Azado because in addition to being from their country, he's brought a piece of entertainment to its capital. I'm Carl Azus, and guess what, y'all? Fridays are awesome! We have a story later about one of the deadliest cats on the planet. Think about what that might be. Before we get there, though, our next subject is about a crime called cyber kidnapping. It's something authorities are warning people about in multiple countries. This is a scam, an operation typically designed to cheat people out of money. Cyber kidnapping may not actually involve someone being physically harmed, but because victims of the scam are threatened or made to look like they could be harmed, their loved ones are tricked to pay a ransom by the scammers. The reason this is getting so much attention now is because a Chinese foreign exchange student in Utah and his parents back in China all became recent victims of cyber kidnapping.
Found cold, scared, but alive. Riverdale police in Utah seen here rescuing 17-year-old Kai Zhuang. Missing for 3 days, the Chinese exchange student had trekked to this backcountry area, sleeping in this tent, running low on food. With him, several cell phones. That's how police say virtual captors manipulated and controlled the teen, likely from thousands of miles away. They call it cyber kidnapping. In China, Zhuang's parents equally terrified, unable to reach their son, reportedly receiving threatening messages and contacting his school in Utah.
The reason why they have him seclude himself in the woods or away from everybody in society, is so they can continue to extort as much money as possible.
In recent months, police across China warning Chinese students in and out of China that the scammers often impersonate officials. They then intimidate the international students with threats of immediate arrest, deportation, and harsh sentencing if they do not cooperate. Police advising students if they get a call like that, hang up immediately and contact the Chinese embassy or consulate, your teachers and classmates at your school, or the local police. In November, Shanghai police reported a couple getting a threatening call while on a highway. They could hear their son's cries over the phone, the scammers demanding the equivalent of $70,000. While on the phone, the couple spotted a police officer at a toll booth who suspected it was a scam and stopped the mother just as she was about to transfer the money. There have been similar cases targeting folks across the U.S. in recent years.
It looked exactly like my sister was calling. It was a man's voice on the other end screaming at me.
If somebody told me that wasn't my wife, I'd say you're lying.
It's so hard for me to describe to you how real this all sounded.
You're in that crisis mode and you immediately want to try to fix it, which in most cases means money.
Police say Zhuang's family did just that, ultimately transferring the equivalent of roughly $80,000 into Chinese bank accounts. When they found him, officers say Zhuang asked for two things: to talk to his family in China to be sure they're okay, and to eat a warm cheeseburger.
On this date in world history, the Royal Aeronautical Society was founded in London on January 12, 1866. Back then, ballooning was really the only way to get off the ground, unless you had a big enough kite. The Royal Aeronautical Society is still in operation. It's the oldest institution of its kind. And on this date in 2010, a magnitude 7.0 earthquake struck the Caribbean island of Hispaniola. Its effect on Haiti, which occupies the western part of that island, was catastrophic, with hundreds of thousands of people killed or injured and more than 1.5 million left homeless. Despite humanitarian aid from around the world, Haiti, which is often described as the poorest nation in the Western Hemisphere, has struggled to recover.
Beirut, Tripoli, and Tunis are all capital cities located along what body of water? Arabian Sea, Black Sea, Red Sea, Mediterranean Sea. These cities are the capitals of Lebanon, Libya, and Tunisia, nations that border the Mediterranean Sea.
An American media company recently asked a panel of 43 diet experts, doctors, nutritionists, professors, what the healthiest diet was, and Mediterranean won out. The company says there's no one diet that's best for everyone, and this doesn't mean the Mediterranean diet includes all the healthiest foods, but variety, availability of foods, and ease of following the diet all factored in.
For the 7th year in a row, the Mediterranean style of eating earned the title of Best Overall Diet by the U.S. News & World Report.
The Mediterranean diet really is one of the very, very best. And the reason is because it's so clinically proven to have positive health outcomes.
Registered dietitian Julia Zumpano with Cleveland Clinic says this style of eating can help reduce inflammation and may help prevent or even reverse certain diseases. The Mediterranean diet is focused on whole foods like whole grains, fresh fruits and veggies, legumes and lentils, extra virgin olive oil, avocados, nuts, and seeds. Fish high in omega-3 fatty acids is also encouraged, while poultry and egg whites are eaten in much smaller portions than the traditional Western diet. For this way of eating, say no to processed foods.
Lastly, we really limit things like dairy. So can have a little bit of cheese on the Mediterranean diet, but it's really just kind of a dusting, just to add some flavor, but not the foundation of a meal. And it shouldn't really be consumed every day.
Zumpano says it's important to have proper serving sizes and to have a balance of each element on your plate, not too much of one or the other.
I love to pause when I'm on camera to see who else is in the picture today. First, we'd like to focus on Miss Kovac's class in the bluegrass state of Kentucky. Fern Creek High School is on screen in the city of Louisville. Great to see you. Next, we're zooming in and training our lens on Mr. Daniello's class. From the Sunshine State, we welcome St. Augustine High School in St. Augustine, Florida. Now you might be like, Carl, why are you snapping all these camera puns? I am so glad you asked.
The 2023 Close-Up Photographer of the Year winners have been revealed, and these staggering images prove good things do indeed come in small packages. Selected from over 100 finalists in categories like plants, insects, underwater, landscape, and more, these are the cream of the crop, showcasing small wonders of the world in intimate and evocative moments captured with the utmost skill and precision. Like this tiny slime mold growth adorned with a literal crown of ice that was so delicate the photographer's breath threatened to melt it, or an army of wood ants futilely defending its nest by spraying a volley of airborne acid at the camera. There was stained grass looking more like stained glass when viewed under a microscope, or a water reflection at a botanical garden that looks more like an impressionist painting than a still photo. These impressive works and more won in their respective categories, but it was this marvelous monochromatic moment captured from inside a hollowed-out tree stump in a Hungarian forest that earned the overall winner of the annual creative competition.
This may look like a sweet little kitty cat that wants to snuggle, but this 8-month-old kitten at a Utah zoo is deadly. This is Gaia. She's a black-footed cat that looks a little like normal. What ain't normal is this wild animal's kill rate. The Hogle Zoo says when this African breed hunts, the black-footed cat makes a catch 60% of the time, which makes it statistically deadlier than lions, tigers, and cheetahs. Of course, the little cat only hunts other small animals like mice and birds. But when it comes to cat food, you don't need a pro plan when your science diet is cat chowing down on Purina meat. Sheba's spending her 9 lives in the meow mix, feeling frisky for a fancy feast that gives her whiskas a taste of the wild. I'm Carl Azus, feasting on cat puns on the world from A to Z. We are off the air Monday for the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, but we hope to see you right back here on Tuesday the 16th, because you mean the world to us.